Hello, it's Talking Reds. Good morning. We are in the city centre of Liverpool. It is John Gibbons. I am joined by Josh Sexton and Neil Atkinson, and we're here to talk about all the latest goings on with Liverpool Football Club. We've got kit news. Well, we'll be reacting to kit news. You've probably seen the kit news. We'll be looking ahead in part 2 to Liverpool v Spurs on Sunday. But before all that, we're going to reflect on Liverpool's fantastic win last night. The women 4-3 against Chelsea. Just quick shout to NordVPN, who is sponsoring this show, partner with us for Talking Reds for the season. More from them in the middle of the show. But Josh, you were there last night. Some win.
I was. It was brilliant. Like there's a bit of a thing where Neil sort of spoke about in the meeting we had before in the morning here at the Anfield Wrap, where like Neil's been to a lot of the games this season, which have been pretty turgid. And that's my first game at Prenton Park this season.
Oh, come on!
I know. Basically, because like of
lash the microphone at him.
Basically, as Andy Kelly described last night, because of too many basketball commitments. Andy Kelly said I've got too many basketball commitments, so that was the reason I've only been to Prenton once this season. But I go there and get 7 goals, and 4 of them are for the Reds. It was absolutely unreal.
Yeah, because Chelsea going for the title as well, so it's a massive game for them.
It's on Sky.
Yeah, it was on Sky. I didn't realise it was on Sky. It just sort of came on. I was like, oh, brilliant! I can watch this, and it was such a game, and they played so well. And to be fair, a lot of the time this season they've gone toe to toe with the top clubs, and that's fantastic. Early on there was the win at Arsenal and things like that. There's obviously been a couple of results where the games have got away from them, but generally speaking, they've been great. In these big games against the big sides, and Chelsea, it doesn't get much bigger than that in the women's game. They are going for the title. It's huge for them, and how they responded to adversity in the game, the confidence they had to lead 3 times in the game, but obviously, once they were pegged back to, it would have been the easiest thing in the world, a 3-0, for example, to just go, okay, well, that's not bad, we have what we hold. But there was 2 teams trying to win the game, and credit to Liverpool for being one of those 2.
No, massively. I think that's what they've done all season, is they've shown a real ability to hang in practically every game. There's a Man City one that gets away from them, but the ability to hang in, but also then show genuine moments of quality, which is from the very first game of the season, the Arsenal one, where they are hanging in, but then the moment of quality comes, and it's a moment of Liverpool quality, and that then begs questions of Arsenal. And the very idea that they could come forth, I think is, I think it's beyond everyone's reasonable expectations. Definitely. Before the ball was kicked this season. I think there was a real desire to see them be able to push up the table, to see them just not have to worry about anything that was going on behind them, to be able to play maybe a bit more of an expansive brand of football. And I think that's worked to a degree. What's really interesting is they found it easier to almost play when they've been coming up against the bigger sides.
Yeah.
That's the when I've the couple of the games I've been to this season that have been frustrating as from a spectator point of view, has been against sides who turn up just to frustrate them. Yeah. It's really interesting that if there is a game of football to get your teeth into, they get the teeth into it in a massive way, and that's what last night is. And watching that second half unfold, I didn't see the first half, but watching that second half unfold, you're like, as you say, it was a real ding-dong affair. It was the sort of thing that people were watching on Sky. There's great saves in there as well. There's great moves. There's near misses, and there's more near misses from Chelsea in the end than there is from Liverpool. But it doesn't matter, because Liverpool are in there. They're then throwing bodies going up the other way. And there was just this sort of point, I think, and you've got to be careful here because, Chelsea are such a good side. But there was almost a bit, I thought, where Chelsea on about 80 were like, well, you just fuck off. Yeah. Like, why is this still a football? Why are you still attacking? Yeah, why are you still attacking? But also, why is this game still live? We've had that this season on the men's side, where there's been points where you've been coming up against some teams like, why have we created a situation where this is still a game? And it's interesting to get to watch that the other way to a certain extent at Prenton Park there. But Liverpool really do just genuinely go toe-to-toe, like you say. And for me, that's the best testament. And they also think, by hook or by crook, we can score a goal.
There's periods of the game where they're the better side than Chelsea. Yep. Like going into half-time for 10 minutes, they're the better side than Chelsea. There's probably a 15 to 20-minute spell in the second half, I'd argue, where they were genuinely the better side. And it's worth emphasising, John, like you say, Chelsea are genuinely one of the better sides in the WSL and have been for years and years. Like City are making a bit of a mockery of them this season. And I say that they're still only
they should be in the
6
Champions League
points.
final, Chelsea.
Exactly. Beat Barcelona at the Nou Camp.
Really.
Beat Barcelona at the Nou Camp, and Barcelona are the Premier side in women's football. Yeah. They are the team to beat by everybody's standards. Chelsea have been the team to beat in the WSL and probably arguably Europe for the best part of 3, 4, and maybe even argue 5 years now, as pretty much as long as Emma Hayes has been at the helm there. So it is a massively impressive win by Liverpool, and there was so much to sort of so many performances you can hang your hat on there. I mean, Gemma Bonner, I tweeted after the game that she's my favourite superhero because She's come back to Liverpool in you know what you would say is probably the twilight of her career, and she may disagree with that, but you know we saw Natasha Dowie come back last season and sort of look like she was in the twilight of her career and still contribute to sort of meaningful moments. Gemma Bonner is genuinely still one of the better players in that Liverpool team, and that's not to do down anybody else. It's to big up Gemma Bonner 100% because she gets
plays in the league.
Yeah, exactly. She gets big goals last night. It's a proper consummate defensive display from her as well in a period where there were periods where Chelsea were on top and you could see that Grace Fisk for example was maybe losing a bit of the legs from under and was just sort of trying to get it clear at times, and you struggle so much because of the quality of Chelsea, but every single time Gemma Bonner was there sort of sweeping things up, and she was just absolutely brilliant.
I think she's Liverpool women's best ever player, Gemma Bonner, and I think for what she's done in both shifts, and listen, you look at that team that won back-to-back titles that she was on and they've got big superstars, people like Lucy Bronze, Farrah Williams, there's Natasha Dowie, there's some big names in there, but she was my favourite player in that team. I loved watching her play, and now she's come back and done this, and it's the week where she's had a changing room named after her at the training ground, which is fantastic, and I know it was a bit of a surprise for her. She wasn't expecting it, and then she scores 2. I'm giving it a 2. In that game.
I think they are officially both hers, to be fair.
Well, I mean, she sort of definitely gets the win, and you just think, like, what a contribution she's made to this football club. Obviously, she went away and played all around the world, but to come back and play at the level she is now, I don't know if someone could make an argument to me that we've had a better player, but it'd have to be some arguments.
Completely agree. I think back then I thought what was astonishing about it was the brain and poise. Yeah. And that's the sort of stuff that only gets better the more you play, if you see what I mean. She always seemed the smartest player on the pitch 10 years ago, and now she's marshalling a lot of footballers through those games and looks so impressive doing so, and remains able to dominate certain scenarios, which is the bit that you think will be on the wane, but it very much isn't, as Chelsea found out last night. I think it is a very strong argument indeed. I think there's been players who've been put in a position and play in a position to shine bright, if you see what I mean, but simply being this club's best centre back in this context, I think, is absolutely massive, and I think there's a really strong leadership role that goes through it as well. And so I think that last night is one of those ones that crowns that, but I think there's no reason for it to stop. I think this is where you and I talk, John, it's frustrating at times, the tempo of the women's season in terms of when they play, but it's worth saying that if you can sort of stay fit and relatively injury free, there's not an enormous total of games if you go through over the course of a season. So as long as you're avoiding those bad injuries that do appear to sort of blight the game a little bit at the minute, there's no reason why Gemma Bonner can't go on next season and be part of a Liverpool side that, and this is the cost of being Liverpool. We always say it, the cost of being Liverpool is that I'm looking at them, they could still come fourth this season, but I want them to have a plan to how they're going to come third next. Like, this is the next thing now, maybe they're a year ahead of where they expected to be, and maybe we might have to have a grown-up conversation 6 months into the following season where we say, well, they were always a year ahead of where they were supposed to be, but let's just go for it. I think that, and the fact that I think that the more it's important, for instance, us talking about it here, we could do more, and we always say that, and we'll always try and make an effort, and I think next season might be a bit more straightforward because the Europa League thing, but I think that there's a really strong thing to build on here where people, it was on Sky, it was 4-3, it was a thriller, we're talking about it at the top of Talking Reds. The reason for that is it was a thriller, so people should be at the next one. We should all be, but the frustration with the next one is a clash with the Tottenham game.
Well, it does and it doesn't. If you're not going to the game, you can sort of do both. If you are going to the game, it's a little bit harder. We've done it before, actually, where we've sort of raced down, so it is possible. We've done it, but it is, you are tight. But the next home game is at 2:00, and then obviously the men, play against Tottenham at 4:30. It is possible to do both live, but if you're not going to the Spurs game and you are in the Merseyside area and you were just going to watch it on telly, then obviously it's a little bit easier.
Go to Manchester United.
I'd encourage you to go to Manchester United. It is a massive game. Obviously Liverpool v Man United is a massive game whenever they play, but they are the team who Liverpool are fighting for this fourth place. They're level on points with each other. Manchester United's goal difference is slightly better, which is, well, it's quite a bit better to be honest, but that's why they're fourth, for Liverpool are fifth. But obviously the way to change that is by beating them on Sunday. So it is a massive game for the women. There's not many games left in the season, obviously same as the men. So if you're not going to Spurs, or even if you are and you feel like you can do the double header, absolutely sort of fair play. But yeah, 2:00, Prenton Park, get your tickets, get down there and support them, and it's a fantastic side. They're going well, they're confident, they're scoring goals, and it's a big game. So yeah, get down if you can. And then,
wrap up. Whatever the weather's like anywhere else, wrap up.
Yeah, honestly, it was saying it was 17 degrees before I went last night, and I was like, I've seen this movie before. Wore my big coat, and didn't I look like the good lad in the end?
Yeah, it is absolutely never short weather, yes, the boys at Prenton Park, absolutely never. But yeah, like I say, get down where you can.
Last year for this fixture, I was sat next to some women who come over from Manchester, and one of them turns to me, and I was dressed like I'd been to Prenton Park, and they were dressed like it was the last game of the season, wasn't it? Last year, so it was the last game, and it was sunny, and they could still see that the sun existed somewhere. And she turned to me and she went, "I've never been so cold in my life." And I was like,
with icicles hanging from her nose.
Genuinely. So you've got to watch it. You've got to watch it.
Yeah. But just to say as well, if you do want to hang around and have a pint after watching the Liverpool game, the world famous Clipper is right there for you. We'll sort of definitely have it on. Other pubs are available in the area, but we know one place that will definitely be showing it, and that is the Clipper right by the ground. New kit then, it's red, Josh. That was my first thing I noticed, and the second thing I noticed was it looks better on footballers. Everyone always sort of freaks out a bit when they see like a grainy camera phone image that someone's took that they weren't supposed to, and it's hanging on a hanger in the wall. It always looks better professionally taken on footballers.
So full disclosure here, I've not yet seen it. Do you want my live reaction to it?
Yeah, I've
had a very basketball morning, so I'm
Kelly's right about you.
Exactly. I'm yet to have gone onto Twitter. Here we go. I mean, Virgil looks fucking fantastic in it, doesn't it? But that doesn't really say much because
he's on a scooter.
He could wear a bin bag and look fantastic. I think I'm into it, you know. Like I don't know. The collar is a lot, isn't it? It's a big old collar. I think the shape of the collar could maybe be different, but it is red, and that's the thing you can say. And also, I don't think you can look bad winning trophies, and that's always the key aspect of a new kit launch for me. I think people can get a little bit too sort of het up on things, like me getting het up about the shape of the collar there. But for me, like I like the lines, I like the sort of like classic element of it, and I think we'd look really good winning the Premier League and Champions League double in it. So that's what I'm after.
Yeah, the best thing to do with a kit is to have a trophy above your head in it. I always find, I don't think the 205 kit's a belter, to be honest with you, but I'll always love it because of Istanbul.
Darwin looks good in as well, by the way, so we can't sell him on that basis.
There we go. I don't like the collar at all.
Do you know?
No. I worry I'm Luddite in some way.
No. The collar's divided opinion, so I think you're fine on that.
Yeah, so I'm very I don't like the collar. Precisely, I'd like to sort of see the thing a little bit closer up. I don't want to see it on the footballers. I always like the lines. I like the reference to 84. I think that truly is sort of a classic. I do wonder whether or not it's sort of gilding the lily a little bit with the detailing around it. But I'm quite I just think the collar, like the line, the collar undoes where it's a twist on a classic, if you sort of see what I mean, and that's my concern with it. I think that's me trying to be a little bit more analytical. I think that if it's a classic, it's the V-neck, and you're then being smart with the lines. I think sort of doing both, I think just makes it look a little blunt, almost, because that's almost the point of the collar. Possibly why I love the V-neck collars is because there is like a visual sharpness to them, and therefore I expect the football team to be sharp, if you don't mind. But ultimately, as you say, if they win, then it all feels a little bit different.
The problem with any kit launch is like you get weirdos like this fella in the comments here, Andrew Heaton, who says, "Why don't they do a match version of the goalie kit? A disgrace." Yeah, like, I just can't be arsed with weirdos like that. Stop it, Andrew, wherever you are.
Well, speaking of weirdos, Paul Senior was moaning on Twitter this morning, moaning that you couldn't get the goalie kit in young kids sizes. To that, I would say you need to remember that young kids still dream of being real footballers, and having given up and decided to be goalie.
I like how that skits Paul and Andy there. I'm really pleased with it.
So
and Alisson Becker, but fuck him. Other others are way too long.
No, he scores goals. He's sound.
Yeah. When he was 6, he thought he'd score more, but it didn't quite happen for him, and he had to adjust. And hey, that's fine. I wanted to be a footballer, and look, now I have to talk about it, and I'm having a nice time.
Yeah, like Alisson Becker.
Exactly. We're all having a nice time, and we're all sort of doing well. It's too expensive. It's gone up again. It's interesting that Liverpool have decided to take a bit of a hit on it, in that when you get it from the club shop, you get it slightly cheaper from Nike, and they're going to make less money in that way. So they've reflected that it's too expensive, and they feel sort of slightly uncomfortable with it. My position, and you could agree or disagree, is I don't really care how much an adult's kit costs, and the people moan about sort of stadium ones and stuff like that. I think adults can just make decisions. You know, people will be looking at this and saying, you know, I'm sat at a Hugo Boss Polo, people know how much they cost. You know, as adults, you know, I've got friends who spend £15 on a t-shirt, I've got friends who spend 250 quid on a t-shirt, do you know what I mean? But that's up to you as an adult. You earn money and you choose sort of what to spend it on it if you can, and if you're growing up and you want that stadium top, and you want fucking Premier League badges on it, then that is up to you. It's the kids ones that sort of stick in the craw for me, and the shit. If there's so many sizes now. There's basically a one for babies and toddlers. There's one for young kids, and then there's a youth one. I'm not managed to get my head around exactly, but I think the youth's from about sort of 9 or 10, correct me if I'm wrong, that's £60 for a shirt, and I think that's scandalous. The kids one, so if it's for a 2 to 3 year old, the full kit is 47. This is from the club, by the way. Nike and other shops will cost you more. This is with the club taking a bit of a hit, and then from there, I think Ted's 4, and his full kit will be 52, and I just think it's too much. Because the kids want it and people want to buy it.
I was about to say it, but I think also...
And then that's with no names and number on the back.
I think also there's the next phase of this as well, which is that we live in a time... Liverpool's different, and I think it's always worth having a moment where you say that on all the bits and pieces, because some clubs, and this is not me looking down on those clubs, but some clubs literally, you know, struggle to sell out. When we talk about prices of things in grounds, I think there's a point to be made, which is a kit is one of the ways in which a young person, and by that I'm going all the way down to 2-year-olds, a young person engages with the football club.
Yeah.
So you're in this situation where we all acknowledge that Liverpool have got a complicated access issue that, for instance, hits memberships and hits how you get juniors into the ground and so on and so forth. But kits are one of the ways in which children and young people engage with the football club is by doing that, and I do therefore really agree with your point, if you see what I mean. For me, that's another layer of it. And then to your point as well, is that kids just want things, and you can, you know, obviously as children grow older, you can have a certain conversation with them around what things cost, but that's a difficult one. And also, if kids also want to like things that the parents like, I mean, I'm no expert in the field, you are, but kids want to like things that the parents like. They want to feel as though they've got that affinity with them. They want to feel an affinity to things. This is all part of what you're literally putting a cost on here, is what I would say. So I agree with you. I think that if there was a way, almost, you know, and it'll sound like a trite sentence, but is there a way to effectively almost say, we'll make the adults ones, if you've got to, even a bit more expensive if there's something in the round, to reduce the price of the stuff for children? I think that'd be a perfectly reasonable argument to make, and to go on through that and to understand, as I say, that affinity point, both affinity with one's parents, affinity with one's peers, but also affinity with this football club, because ultimately we want them to like the football club, because at some point we might need them to buy some tickets and come to the match. So yeah, I think it is a difficult situation, and I think it is interesting, all the language that's come out around this, and how, like, there'll be some people who work in that industry who feel like Liverpool. I want to be clear about this. It's poor form, this, from Liverpool, you know.
Yeah, no,
people who work in the sportswear
yeah.
industry
yeah.
will be looking at that going, that Liverpool have been as explicit as they have done, that they're taking a bit of a hit because they think their partner is overpricing this.
Yeah.
I think there'll be people who go, you don't do that. That's moody. You don't do that. You don't get into a partnership with someone and then publicly go, your thing costs too much, which is what Liverpool...
Well, other football clubs as well. So other football clubs you've got, like Tottenham or Chelsea or whoever it is, are going like, what?
Fucking turn it in. There will be an element of that, but again, that's sort of the flip side, to go back to the ticket price conversation, where I think part of why Liverpool end up doing the thing that's perceived as paltry, even though it isn't, it is more than that, but which irritates people. I think it's done in part because, I'm not saying there was a secret clandestine meeting where they all got together and decided to whack the prices up, but Christ, it doesn't half look like it. And I think there's a thing here where Liverpool doing that will be irritating other clubs, will be irritating people in that industry. It is a little bit of a risk, but you can think that and have a degree of sympathy with commercial behemoth Big Red. On the one hand, you can think that, but also simultaneously think, but they are still too expensive. And this is another one of those conversations where you're having the conversation from the starting point of the prices have gone up, but they were already too expensive anyway, and especially in the area around children.
The actual right answer to that is for the club to be able to sit in a room with Nike, isn't it, and go, we think this is too expensive.
Or whoever's the next kit provider, because I think that's where you have to do it, Josh. Sorry to butt in. I think you have to do it. And listen, we get football clubs and fans as well surprisingly get competitive over these ticket deals. Sorry, not ticket deals.
Ticket prices.
No, I meant the kit.
Oh, right.
So what clubs get from kit manufacturers, you know, is sort of competitive. And you see fans say, oh, why are we only getting 80 million from Nike or whatever when United are getting 100 million from Adidas? You know, stuff like that happens, and supporters have those conversations. But I think when those conversations are happening, so Liverpool, I don't know if it's been fully announced yet whether Liverpool are moving next season. There's been a lot of Adidas talk. Like I say, I don't know whether that's sort of signed and delivered. I'm sort of not sure. But you almost need to have it then, really, and you almost need to be maybe even prepared to sort of take a little bit of a hit there, and I think that's a difficult one for the clubs, because they're obviously, you're saying, well, you've told us we can't put ticket prices up, and now you say now we're in this sort of this situation where, you know, you're going in and you're trying to get as much money as possible, but you're almost handed over some bargaining things. But I think the football club, I think it's hard for the football club once you've signed that deal to be like, right, now we're going to have a conversation about how much you're allowed to pay for these shirts, because it's like a band who get an advance on an album. Do you know what I mean? You're paying for it eventually. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're just sort of getting this money up front. Liverpool take the money up front, and it's similar. And with the pre-season games, I don't know, some American fans have got onto us saying that they feel like the friendlies are too expensive in America, and Liverpool, you know, hand that over. So it's not Liverpool setting those prices, but they have taken the money to sort of
that
go
leads
over.
to those prices.
Yeah. So it's a difficult one, really. But you need to have those conversations early, I think, if you want to have any sort of sway.
Exactly, and it's where it's frustrating, and maybe it's sort of heavy business chat to get into the sort of change of language around how it's gone from sponsorships to partnerships now. But the idea of the partnership at its best form is that that's meant to be a sort of open line of communication between Liverpool and the kit sponsor or the ticket partner who they go to for the American fiction stuff. And that is where, like you say, like it's then shouldn't be on Liverpool to be like, we think this kit's too expensive, so we're going to be the ones who subsidise it. It should be Liverpool sat in a room with Nike or sat in a room with whoever the next kit partner is, and sort of saying to them, you know, we think this kit's too expensive, we want to go across the board, and you know, we want you to support us on this. Like if you want to be our kit partner of you, because let's make no mistake about this, it works two ways, doesn't it? Like this is as good a deal for Nike over the last few years as it has been for Liverpool. You can maybe even argue a better deal for Nike if you sort of look at what people have generally thought of the kits in recent years, and particularly the sort of fallout around kit price and things. So it is on the club really to not almost, I don't want to say, you know, jeopardise the partnership, because I don't think it's as serious as that, but to go against the partnership in a sort of spirited way, if you want to call it that. And again, that's sort of heavy on the business side of things, but in the spirit of the partnership, not go against their partners by going, oh yeah, we're gonna subsidise the price on our side here, you do what you want. It should be across the board to say, listen, wherever our fans are buying this from, we think it's too expensive, we want it to be affordable for our fans, we want it to be especially affordable for the kids. Is there a way we can work this out? And by the way, like Liverpool are the best example of it, and they really, in recent weeks in particular, with you know, the discourse points out the window at the fire, sort of talking about the cheapest tickets being local tickets in the ground and being £9. Like there is a Liverpool have set a blueprint and have form for doing this, for finding a way to subsidise things in a sort of very on top way that they can then use for their own PR. And this is where, again, like you say, it is the idea that it sort of sticks in the craw. Yeah,
no, it does a little bit. And you know, for Liverpool, I think, you know, they are a powerful club, and I think maybe, you know, to sort of use that power a little bit if they can, is just say, look, if you want to work with us, you know, and clubs do it all the time, and companies do it all the time. We do it. We're about to hear from our partners, and we say these are our values. And part of if you want to work with us, you need to sort of align with them. And part of them could be, you know, in this very specific instance, let's keep things reasonable for children if we can.
Yeah, I think that your argument's all very fair, and I do agree with it. But I also am sort of conscious that these are people doing jobs, doing them to the best of their ability. And
of course,
they've only got one pair of hands.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So you end up getting sort of extended on that. There's only so many hours in the day. But I think that the overall sort of overarching point I do agree with, and I think that there is, in general, I think one of the complexities around football, and I think at some point soon it may well hit the television question, is the issue with putting prices up at a point where at the minute, you know, we are in a bit of an inflationary cycle across the board. Making the point we are in an inflationary cycle is a difficult argument to sustain if you were also putting prices up previously and things are already too expensive. And then that's the ultimate sort of bit where you end up. I think that people would have a lot more time for, we put it up X% because inflation is Y%. I think that there's more softness around that if you weren't also saying, well, when inflation was lower, the prices were also going up. Or that in the first place, if we want to take, you know, as on the ticket price argument, all right, well, let's take inflation from 1990. At which point, oh God, wish we'd never done that.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the bit that needs to be borne in mind here as much as possible. If you are at a starting position that X is too expensive, making the argument that there's an inflationary cycle that equals Y, I think is a difficult one. But all of that said, I will, try and be sympathetic where possible, and I do think that there are, in this instance, I think it is striking Liverpool's language, and I'll say it again, I think they have took a risk and gone out on a bit of a limb.
It is red. It is red though, and like Josh says, if they win a trophy in it, then it'll be a big trophy, and it'll be one of our favourite kits of all time. We're going to talk about Liverpool Spurs. I'm really interested in your thoughts on the game, who you pick, any sort of wildcard starters. Do you get your comments in? Aware I haven't brought any in, but I'm sure Josh will be able to do so in the second half of the show. But I just want to give a quick shout out to NordVPN, who, like I say, are partnering with us for Talking Reds until the end of the season. It is a fantastic service that we use for a variety of different reasons. You've got that internet security, you've got that peace of mind joining on public Wi-Fi's. But one of the main benefits for us, and I know for a lot of you who've said you've signed up, is that ability to log in and virtually log in from different locations, and that allows you to access things that are on the TV or anything on streaming that maybe isn't available in your territory but is in others. So that might be a football game that's taking place at a certain time where you're not allowed to watch it in the UK.
The snooker.
Well, I mean, is this people abroad who maybe haven't got the snooker can watch it on the BBC? Is it ramping up? Who's going to win?
I think Karen Wilson's going to win, striking the ball beautifully. So I think he is now favourites because there's both Jones and O'Sullivan. Not Jones, sorry. Trump and O'Sullivan went out yesterday, and Trump looked in really good nick before the match against Jack Jones. Jones was excellent throughout, really sort of got him stuck in the mud, and Ronnie, Stuart Bingham, was really, really good, and I think Ronnie was just not quite at it the way in which he often is. So that was a little bit frustrating, but Bingham deserves all the credit in the world for winning. But yeah, you can, if you use the VPN, wherever you are on the planet, if you want to enjoy the genuine excellence of the snooker commentary, I hasten to add, I'm not being facetious when I say, like, Stephen Hendry's absolutely brilliant on it, Dennis Taylor's really, really good on it. I like it when they put Taylor and Hendry together, because Taylor's very much like he wants to see the players be the best versions of themselves, and Stephen Hendry doesn't understand why they're not as good as he was. But he's very, wants to see them be aggressive and determined. I think it's a really insightful load of commentary and coverage, to be honest with you. The BBC does put its back into it this time of year, and I was there Monday, Tuesday, and really enjoyed it. But yeah, if you're abroad and you want to use NordVPN to be able to enjoy the best of the BBC coverage, because it is on in other territories to an extent, but it's certainly not in the United States or sort of that in that westward way across the Atlantic, I would recommend getting stuck in and enjoying Kyron Wilson's cueing.
Yeah, so there you are. It is the semi-final stage. It is exciting, and that is available to you. If it's not in your country, get a NordVPN, join in with the BBC, and get involved in that. Less good news for Clippers fans.
Yeah,
looking a bit ropey.
I don't have much basketball chat to offer at this stage, to be honest. I'm in a very sad state this morning, so I think I'm trying not to get too existential about things, but struggling at that, to be honest. Yeah.
But if you want to enjoy US basketball in the UK or UK,
or endure US basketball
or UK snooker, wherever you are in the world, that is one of the many benefits of a VPN service. So get yourself to nordvpn.com/TAW, nordvpn.com/TAW for lots of special offers. You get 4 months free at the moment, and also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you download it, if you're getting on with it or not getting on with it, and just do feel like you're getting value from it, they are that confident that you will enjoy it. They're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. So nordvpn.com/TAW, and thanks again for them partnering with us. Spurs, it's a big game. It's a big game, and it's not a big game in terms of times on the year and clock when we've been at the end of the seasons, fighting for everything and stuff like that. That isn't there now, but it is Liverpool v Spurs. I'm really looking forward to it in a way that the strange things happens with the Arsenal win is that it means we're more or less 99% guaranteed top four, and I'm just hoping that takes the pressure off. There was a lot of people sort of suddenly panicking about the top four that I never sort of got on board with, because I thought we'd be fine, especially with the home games that we had coming up, and the fact that there's a reason that these teams are in fifth, and it's because they lose games as well. And so as also, yeah, exactly. And so I was never sort of worried about that, but any worries that anyone might have had have been put to bed. I think there should be pressure off the team now, and I just want them to go out and enjoy it. I want them to go out and be Liverpool, and for these last 3 games, but especially the last two home games, I want them to look like Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, and I think that'll be their desire as well.
I very much hope so. First and foremost, Josh has got shorts on. and this is massive. It is a gorgeous Thursday. I've been doing these shows.
You won't wear them at Prenton Park.
No,
Absolutely
I've been doing these shows for 6 months on and off, complaining about the weather. And I feel as though it's not going to be great tomorrow, but I feel as though the weather's finally genuinely turned, and it's a bank holiday weekend, and Liverpool are playing on Sunday. And it genuinely, in your list of, if you can't get up for that, you can't get up for anything. This is very big in my mind.
There's real Rose and Crown. Possibilities.
I'm very much up for a very, very, very big weekend. There appears to be a solid influx of people coming into the city.
Oh, everyone.
So that's great as
To
well.
book tours in on Friday.
Oh, it's gonna honestly
time slots.
It's gonna be great, and I think that I want that energy to be there in the stands, and I want that energy to therefore be transmitted to the pitch, and I'm really optimistic it will be, because I think this is we've got real clarity now. I wanted to beat West Ham, and we wouldn't have had real clarity if we'd have beat West Ham, to be honest, but we didn't. So there's real clarity as to what this is. And what it is, therefore, is playing against a side who think they're very exuberant, who have a genuine can-do attitude, who demonstrated that last weekend. So let's just fucking destroy them.
Yeah.
Let's really knock that out of them. Let's really break them. That's what I want. I really want. I think that Postecoglou's done a really good, smart, pragmatic job as Tottenham manager. So it'd be great to really, really rain on that parade and remind them that this is what Anfield is, and take them to the cleaners, playing our football. Their football's got similarities, but our football, and I want to see a real display. I want to see, goals. I want to see exuberance. I want to see enjoyment. I want to see the idea that every single Liverpool player wants to win the battle against his opposite number. And then I think that will breed backwards and forwards, and then we can really, really go out on Sunday. That is genuinely what I'm in it for. And ironically, under Jurgen Klopp, we haven't had that many of these. One of the frustrations in a number of ways, and why I think there's been exhaustion at times, is we've actually not been able to not be on the beach. I don't want us to be on the beach. I want us to be intense, but be able to glide into the end of a season here and build up to a next one. We really have not had that opportunity on very many occasions.
Last time we did, we won the league.
So yeah, that's it. So but no one could be in the ground.
Yeah.
So so let's really, I think, let's put a show on. I want to put a show on. And I want them to put a show on for us. I want us to put a show on in the stands. I want Sunday to be a show. I'm going to dress up. I haven't worked out what yet. It's not fancy, to be crystal clear. I mean, I want to look the part. I'm on CNN at 10, which means I think I might be confirmed on at the Croc at 9.
Hold on to your hats. When Neil was talking,
I might wear a hat. So hold on to my hat.
I was we're doing this thing at the moment that's a bit top secret, but Craig's asking for contributors to send their pictures in, and he did it with subscribers as well, the subscriber group. But there was some fantastic pictures of people's dads going the game, and Ian Salmon's done his dad from a cup final ages ago, but he's got one of those big red top hats on that you used to see, and I'm like, bring them back. Can I bring them back?
Yep.
Me, next year if we get to a cup final, I'm going to wear a big red top hat.
Maybe Sunday, fellas behind you furious. Constructive view this.
Yeah. Up the Reds. I did literally. When Neil was talking there, when he first of all, it got me excited for the big Sunday night, but also the fact that it would be good if we don't end up sort of bunched up with Villa and Spurs at the end of the season, because I think the conversation then becomes, oh, you're in that gang, not the top 2/3 gang, what it would be, and I think we've proven all season that we are up there with those top 3 sides. Obviously they've fallen away at the end, but that doesn't mean we should sort of forget what the team were able to do from August to the end of March, and I think it would be easy for people to sort of lazily sort of group us with the team sort of below us who are fighting for those Champions League places if we do sort of take our eye off the ball. The best way to show that you are much better than Tottenham Hotspur is
and Aston Villa.
But we'll come on to those picks. But on Sunday's business is show we're well better than Spurs, and then we'll get on to the Lions.
Yep. Absolutely, and I've heard like there's it feels like there's so many runners about at the moment. Like there's a good Carl Kopak thing. Carl Kopak's one of our columnists at the Anfield Wrap. If you don't read the Anfield Wrap, right, and you should, because it's fantastic. And Carl in particular is fantastic. And Carl always says no fucking runners, and this is the thing for me at this stage now, is that idea of like, listen, we've not achieved the expectation we wanted to achieve this season. But no, we're not running away from any battles here. As Neil said, you want every single one of those lads who take to the pitch of the weekend to win their individual battles. And I'm sorry, Tarek, I'm going to grass you up here, because Tarek Grabber says Villa finishing above us is going to be a blow. Villa aren't going to finish above us. This Liverpool side are a better side than Liverpool. There's that funny thing where Sam, who's our head of design in the office all this season, whenever Arsenal were top of the league, he was like, whenever we'd rip him, basically, he was like, oh, I wish there was a way that, you know, you could just, if you won games, you could tot up points and see who was the best team in the league. for most of the season, Liverpool were top of the league, and Liverpool were the best team. They were leading that group of three teams, and now we're all acting like they're absolutely shite. They're not absolutely shite. Heads and minds have gone and things like that, but this Liverpool team is fundamentally not a shit football team, and I'd just quite like them to prove that the weekend. I'd quite like them to take a Tottenham side who I believe the gaffer is too stubborn with the sort of personnel he's got this season. I think you see it at times, like that mad Chelsea game from a little bit earlier in the season. It's a team and a manager who are very set in sometimes rubbish ways of football, and I'd like Liverpool to expose those rubbish ways of football by playing much better football, which they are very much capable of.
Yeah, I want James Maddison looking like the James Maddison that often has played against Liverpool, where there's a lot going on. And I want that. You know, you can go right the way through the side, but I think it's good. I am kinder to the Spurs manager than Josh is, because I think he pragmatically worked out the best way to get back into a top 4 or 5.
I think he's great, by the way.
Yeah, is to be really expansive against the poorer sides, and if we keep doing that, we'll win well more than we lose, and I think that's worked for him. So I think he's been fine. But I do think that the other part of that, though, is that, and this is where, you know, I will be a bit irritated if Liverpool act, there are no surprises. They're going to play the way they played all season. They're going to play the way they just tried to play against Arsenal. They're going to play that way. There are no surprises from the Spurs side. I would argue there should have been no surprises from Atalanta, no surprises from Everton, and no surprises from Crystal Palace. But there are no surprises from the Spurs side. Liverpool have had a week to work on it, and I'm expecting to see a thing or two. I really am. I'm dead excited. I'm really looking forward to being in the ground on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. I'm really looking forward to it being sunny. I'm really looking forward to seeing people. Genuinely the point of this, to go back to it, the first point of it, there's other points that have come down the years and have come to all of us in time. You know, in lots of ways it has felt like, and is pretty close to a matter of life and death. But the other thing about it is that it is genuinely a leisure activity, and I am looking forward to my day of leisure. To quote the City motto, God has given us these days of leisure, and Sunday should most definitely be one of them, and I'd argue that Friday and Saturday are too.
Loads of great build-up to the game on Sunday on the Anfield Wrap, obviously. So you've got the pre-match warm-up hosted by Ian Ryan, which is always fantastic. You've got the team talk hosted by Josh Sexton, which always happens. Loads of sorts of build-up stuff. You've got the Friday show, the Neil Atkinson host, which covers the whole of the Premier League. I'll have some
relegation battle focus this time out. Great callers.
It's tighter than I realised.
Burnley
are having a go at me.
I fucking love Burnley, and I'm so pleased.
They are having a go. Ever since Chris Wilder called them shite.
I had to look before, Jay. I was like, I want to hold the league picture for another week. If I can just hold it on one more week. So what am I going to do? When I check the bottom, I'm like, I'll have all these on.
Yeah, well, if you're as shocked as we are about that, more on that on the Friday show.
£10 a month.
And obviously, straight after the game on Sunday, you'll have the best post-match reaction everywhere from Anfield, a stone's throw away from the ground. You'll have audio hosted by me, video hosted by Neil. I assume those things are correct. Thanks, well, Josh. Josh sorts it. It's usually right. I'll check Sunday morning. But audio from the Glenbrook, post-match pint from the Phoenix. We think it will be some great pubs right in the heart of Anfield, doing some fantastic stuff.
Look at a mural, the Phoenix. Check it out.
There we are. But any other sort of comments before we move on? We haven't done a lot this week.
We've done quite a lot. I'll go to this one from Rob B first. Said Anfield is the game changer for the women. Just going back to the sort of first talking point of the video, has to happen more and more, if not permanently. I understand the reasons why it can't happen permanently, but I do agree with the idea of more and more, and it not just being the derby, because the players have really got it in their heads that the derby has become too big an occasion now, much like the men. Unfortunately, there's a lot of the opposite of love for the kits. There's some kit sucks chat. There's a bit of Nike out chat. I'm not sure.
They're going anyway.
I'm not sure where I land on that, because we're all imagining Adidas are great because of nostalgia, but Adidas make the United kit, and the United kit is absolutely the pits. So I wouldn't get too sort of hung up on that. A few bits about Spurs, people looking forward to the game. There's one from Robbie Fowler, the gobshite, not the footballer, who says, keep us posted on your outfit choice, Neil. Need to know what to wear for the match at 4 and Town at 8. The weather is the unknown variable. It's always the case. And Anfield is a microclimate too, especially if you're at the back of the Kop. It is hotter than the sun at the back of the Kop. And I think that's probably a lot.
That'll do us. Thanks obviously to Neil and George. Neil and George. Well, George did do stuff. He's filming over
He did
there.
more than me, I'd argue.
I don't know. I think we've all contributed equally. It has been a square 90 degrees of love from an effort from everyone. So hope you've enjoyed it. And that's not to discount your comments as well. Added a little bit extra always. So thanks to those of us who do join us live. Thanks a lot to NordVPN for partnering with us, of course. And up the Reds. Enjoy your Sunday. It's a leisure activity. Come on.
A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a cybersecurity tool for privacy and security. When you connect to it, a VPN creates a secure tunnel and secures data traveling between you and the VPN server. Encryption scrambles data, so to anyone outside the encrypted tunnel, the information looks like gibberish, meaning no snoops can sneak a peek at your online activity. NordVPN ensures that you can browse safely and privately in just a few clicks. A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a cybersecurity tool for privacy and security. When you connect to it, a VPN creates a secure tunnel and secures data traveling between you and the VPN server. Encryption scrambles data, so to anyone outside the encrypted tunnel, the information looks like gibberish, meaning no snoops can sneak a peek at your online activity. NordVPN ensures that you can browse safely and privately in just a few clicks. A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a cybersecurity tool for privacy and security. When you connect to it, a VPN